Hi, everyone. I am Rebecca Urban. I work at Summa Health in Akron, Ohio, and I serve as the System Director for Surgical Service Lines and the Orthopedic Service Line here at Summa. I got told by some colleagues, they're like, "You're excited about this. Like, if you're excited, we're excited." And it was about a big change that had people feeling unsure. And so I think that's my first thing. And as somebody who's usually I'm pretty high and I'm pretty excited about everything when I see it. And if I'm not excited, I guess it also shows as well. And so it's that helpful feedback from individuals, but it's also idea on the culture's understanding kind of what is going on. And part of that is intentional rounding. I'm constantly rounding with my teams and being able to check in with them on how they're doing and what's going on. And sometimes it's getting lost in emails. Like, are we saying the same thing, or are we completely off? And it's okay to be off. I have no issue with that. I might be in the minority on that, but I'm totally comfortable with not agreeing on every single thing. But us getting to a point of respect of that we understand where the person's coming from, and I think just really being able to feel comfortable, kind of speaking what you're thinking, because I'll have somebody say something, and I take a step back, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like that is genius. That is exactly like where we need to go. And I might not have saw that in an email because I only got one line versus a 4-minute conversation. We'll go take a walk or head to like one another's offices and say, hey, like I think you misunderstood. This is what I'm thinking. I think the other part, especially the system director, when you're over the entire system, so the ASCs and ASF, a hospital base, you have the opportunity to network across different areas. And I think sometimes we take that for granted because we're getting those calls between 7 and 9 a.m. Oh, an OR is not running properly. There's a tray problem. So and so has off. We've added 15% of our cases for the day. And so we get so lost in the day-to-day operations that we forget about all the other areas that we touch. And I think that's something that has been critical for me since joining this position about a year and a half ago, is working with our medical group, working with imaging, working across the board with revenue cycle and our performance solutions teams, and not just being in our silo of surgical services where we talk to each other all day, every day. That's our norm. But I call this like we are the ticket to ride is the terms I use often, like with my colleagues, is we just give them the ticket. They have to have the ticket and we allow them in or we allow them out. And that's our responsibility. And so more we can understand about the journey it took for them to get there. Like maybe you don't have MRI or CT access. And so it's causing a delay of X amount of weeks to get to the OR. Well, that's important to know for the Block Committee. When you decide to release that time, or when you see that cases are already backed up and scheduled, do you shift gears and move to somebody else? Do you know who your service lines are recruiting? So in my role, I really serve as that middle ground between our medical group and our surgical services, is understanding our recruitment plan. So I can prepare with our ACNO and our medical director a year and a half in advance of, these are what operating rooms we need to expand to. These are the cases that are coming in. Here's where I need to make a switch to here, to here, to here, to get everything in to optimize our resources. Do we need to expand? When I talk with folks who focus on expanding after everybody has already gotten here, that's too late. We have the opportunity that folks are signing their letter of intents a year, almost 8 months to a year in advance, and we have opportunities within there. So to me, it's super exciting. Again, like on a culture standpoint, it's hard. It's as new leaders, it's really hard work. Every single day, there's something that can go wrong, and constantly will go wrong, and how you adjust and overcome and handle change, and also just being able to adapt. Something I've learned really quickly is there's things that are in my control and there are things that are not. and how I support my team through that, especially with declining capital budgets, is something that like you can't control. But what I can control is an understanding of what to prepare for. And I just feel like everyone's really understanding with that. If you can be transparent as a leader and again, there's only certain, sometimes you can't share all the information, but I think sometimes we worry about being really cautious and we keep things close chested. Where if you're to share something with somebody and they're like, oh, well, this makes sense. This isn't just the fact that we can't do it. Here's why. And they totally understand that. And so I think the idea of um, listen to understand is a really critical leadership component.
Awesome. Well, that was a great way to end the interview. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.